Hello, I'm Areima, and this is Hammerwatch II. This is the last episode in my little series covering all of the different classes. If you want to see Warlock gameplay, there is a video out there that says a sequel to one of the best roguelike uh, action RPGs, and that is actually me starting as a Warlock. This is Paladin. Paladin is a frontline fighter kind of character. You have a shield here that lets you block. You have a nice mace swing. Your dash is a charge that also stuns the first enemy. And at base, you have this nice little hammer throw. The hammer throw actually bounces off things as well, and it pierces enemies infinitely. And we're going to quickly go over the apprentice skills, and then we're actually going to go into the pirate dungeon, which is on the tutorial island. But I did all of the other ones in a later dungeon with a higher level, and honestly, I kind of ran out of time and was tired of doing the same dungeon over and over. So we are going to look at the pirate dungeon this time. So you have shield charge, which stuns the first enemy, like I said. It can evolve into, well, this is actually just a no-brainer upgrade. It doesn't need to be an evolution, where you do damage based on your physical armor, and then later you can get a thing where you stun through enemies, but they're only inflicted with a minor stun instead. So that's more of a choice instead of a dedicated upgrade. You have your mace swing, which gets the usual just like main hand damage increases, and then you get a chance to inflict stun. You also get the it gains increased armor penetration per level, and then there's a later one that says that you basically get fiery attacks, but this is at expert level, so that's going to be quite farther into the game. Your shield block at base is your right click, you hold your shield around. It allows you to block in a 180 cone in front of you, and that block converts the block into stamina loss. Where you can see the stats for that is actually not on the skill, but on shield itself. It says blocks up to 50 damage and 250 arc, and that 50 damage, I imagine, as you get different shields, is going to change as well. And I imagine there's going to be other stats on shields as well, just based on how the other classes work. And then you can get shield training, which I currently have, which without shield training, you hold block, you actually can't move. So this right here, this is with a 20% reduction on that movement penalty. And then you can start blocking, increasing your resistances to fire, ice, and lightning while shielding. And then later you get the thing where you reflect damage that you shield. Then the last one is Righteous Hammer. You'll hurl magical hammer at your foes, dealing physical damage to everyone in its path. That's the bouncing hammer that I was showing off. And then at Adept level, you get 2 upgrades that are mutually exclusive of each other. So you only get to choose one of these 2, but you can respec later if you decide to choose the other one. So this one makes it so that the hammer continuously discharges bolts of lightning at nearby enemies. And the other one deals additional physical damage based on your based on your strength, and inflicts armor break. So the Hammer of Wrath would be more of an intelligence-based build, because you're going to want to do lightning damage and stuff like that. And then the Hammer of Sundering is more of a strength build. And then at Expert, you get the ability that whenever it returns to you, it returns you after a short cooldown. Okay, short delay, and it increases the cooldown if you choose this. And then just as a quick glance at your Adept skills, you have Lay on Hands at Adept, which allows you to restore health to all allies in the targeted area, and Judgment, which is a big laser beam AoE thingy that I recognize from one of the previous games, that generally hits right in front of you. You also get a passive to increase your armor and increase your strength, which, keep in mind, increasing your armor sounds boring, but keep in mind that's also damage on your I clicked on the wrong thing. It's damage on your shield charge. So we're going to go through the pirate dungeon here and just trying to show off some of the gameplay in this game. The pirate dungeon is a main storyline dungeon. It's basically the last thing you're going to do in the tutorial island. There is a lot of paths through this place, and a lot of them are optional. And I say that kind of it's like pseudo-optional. There is a lot of things, let me just say, there's a lot of things you can do here, but you don't have to technically do all of them. So this place is very expansive, but don't feel daunted by how expansive it is. Paladin here, though, I think is going to make short work of this place. one thing I notice immediately with how Paladin works is that it's going to work as a really good, like if you're playing with friends, it's going to work as a really good frontline character. The other thing that it's going to do is if you're not as skilled with like dodging and stuff like that, you can just block projectiles instead. So like if you're not interested in, you know, some real-time action skills, you know, action RPG skills, the Paladin's going to be a pretty safe class to play. It also seems pretty strong too. In fact, after this being the last class that I've played now, there is no such thing as a weak class in this game, to be honest. They all do very, very well, and they all have a lot of choices and diversity within the class. And I think that they're all, at least so far, I would say, very well designed. I can't speak to the end game balance of the game, but the game has still felt the appropriate level of difficulty on all of the classes. It hasn't necessarily felt any necessarily easier, although there were certain encounters on certain characters that were easier to handle. Do I have a bronze knee? I do. Awesome. I really want... Come on, let me pick it up. Elixir of Excellence, I think, is attribute points. Yes, it is. We'll get a point of strength. There were certain encounters on certain characters that were easier to handle than others, but outside of that, like, none of them have felt straight up stronger than the others. I would say the only one that I personally jived with, and it kind of made it feel like it was a stronger class, but on retrospective, I don't think it necessarily was Ranger. And that's more because of the fact that they have so many different options that I felt like I had a tool for every situation. But in retrospective and watching back some of the footage, I wasn't doing as much damage as Rogue or Wizard was, so it was the trade-off of I wasn't as tanky and I wasn't as high damage dealing. So Ranger's kind of like the middle ground between everything. Meanwhile, this guy is a unstoppable juggernaut of force. On previous characters, I was saying, oh, you can't do the action RPG thing of just charging in and expecting to win. Yeah, no, you can actually just play this like Diablo at this point with this character. You can just charge in and just batter people in the face with your mace, and generally speaking, it seems like they will simply die. Keep in mind, for all of these little gameplay showcases, I am playing on easy mode, so that does affect things a little bit. Your mileage may very well vary. This might be a much harder class to play on other difficulties, but for some reason I don't really suspect that that's going to be as much of a case. I don't think it'll ever be a hard class to play. I think that depending on your playstyle, there might be other classes that will be more fun for you. Like if you want to be a glass cannon, then definitely, you know, check out Wizard. If you want to, well, Wizard or Rogue, to be honest. If you want some crazy movement, Rogue is definitely your beast. Also possibly Ranger. And if you want just a little bit of everything and some pretty cool features, Ranger would be a good option. But if you want to play safe, if you want to be tanky, you want to be unstoppable, then looks like Paladin would be your man. Or woman. You can actually be either gender of any class. That is the first healing potion I've needed to pop because I just took a whole bunch of arrows to the face. Come on, shoot me. Oh, he actually has a melee attack if you did it in too close. I've never seen that before. I don't really use a lot of mana, so I'm focusing mostly on the other skills there. I really like this dash, so I am actually going to upgrade it again just to get the cooldown down, and then I'm going to upgrade my main attack because I'm using those more than anything else. My plan here is to finish this first area. You'll get to see the first boss. This is kind of like the first dungeon as well. And then after this, we're going to head to the mainland, and I should be around the right level. I'm going to try and make sure to remember, yeah, next time I level up, we're not going to spend our skill points. We'll head to the mainland, and we'll grab Adept, and then you'll see just a little bit of what this character looks like with his second set of skills unlocked. Oh man, I just rushed down that pirate with no effort. That was really cool. I will say, to no one's surprise whatsoever, the Paladin is a very good solo class. They don't really need a lot from anyone else, but I do worry that later on they might not have as much damage as everyone else. That's generally how the balance in these things kind of go, is that if you're this much of a frontline fighter, you're not going to get as much damage. Well, that already has a bunch of damage on it, and seems pretty good. There was a funny thing you could do in a previous game, a previous Hammerwatch game, where you could block traps to some degree, but I think it's because the block was like omnidirectional. And sad gloves. Is that what I just got? Yeah, it is. Spell cooldown. Release this guy, and he's going to give me the boss key, so we're going to go kill the boss right away. Actually, I do want to kill 5 pirate captains for a quest, because it gives me a bunch of experience. So we're gonna hunt down, I think it's 7 actually. I just remembered. Scarfs. Yeah, so we need 2 more, because there's 1 guarding the boss. Okay. I'm really curious if I can block cannon shots, but not curious enough to try. One tip that I've given in every one of these videos, because it is something that is not obvious at all, and actually got me stuck for a little while, is there are merchants in the game that sell copper and silver keys. It's something to be very aware of, because you will find that there are extra key like things in every single dungeon. Side areas that you can get to, secrets that you can do, all sorts of things that you can do because of having keys. So you definitely want to make sure that whenever you have some extra money and you're in town, you buy some extra copper and silver keys. Yeah, look at this. Big horde. And I can just wade through them. And they have to deal with me, not the other way around. It is, I will admit, I'm not normally the person that likes playing the tanks. But it is pretty cool. It is a pretty cool class. Whenever it comes to making a tank, they did a good job making this kind of beefy, frontline, juggernaut paladin kind of character, which is kind of what I always imagined paladins to be, is the paladin, you know, in D&D and such, just rushes forward, smites one dude, and then takes all of the blows, and then smiles through the bloody teeth and just goes, nah, I'm fine, kid. I'm fine, bro. And keeps fighting. That's what paladins do. Okay, we're going to come down here, and we're going to fight the first boss, which, on easy mode, he's a little bit of a joke on easy mode, but don't think too highly of it. It's easy mode. We normally play on a slightly higher difficulty, and I will warn you that on hard difficulty, I end up fighting this guy for like 45 minutes straight. He was pretty hard, because he has a mechanic to him that you'll see in a moment, that if you don't act appropriately and you don't dodge it appropriately, you will just kind of get wrecked. I can block cannonballs. And that was my last scarf. That's what that quest update was for. I'm going to use some apples to heal instead of using potions, because this is our boss fight. Matt's Tower. Okay, he burned the crap out of my stamina just now, though. So that's the balancing factor of the Paladin here, is that sure, I have the ability to block, but if I block, then I can't do a lot of damage. I like that. That's the mechanic that I'm talking about. That in hard mode, those cannonballs, at least against my wizard, basically nearly one-shot you. And at the end here, when he gets really pissed and kind of just goes ham and just goes, yeah, just everyone fire now. Blocked that cannonball. I think it saved my life. And he's down. He almost killed me, though. That was much harder. So that's a good indication as well of the balance here. That was much harder on Paladin than it was on Ranger and Rogue. Because Ranger and Rogue, I just dodged around the battlefield and I killed him in about 4 seconds flat. On Paladin here, I had to kind of put a lot more effort into killing him because I don't do as much damage. More talk to this guy and tell him to open the door. And he refuses, so loot! Glorious loot. Beautiful. After this, we are going to head to... We're going to go turn in these quests and head back to the mainland. Because once we get to the mainland, we can talk to an NPC just right off the boat, unlock Adept, which gives us the ability to buy these stills here, and we'll get to see what the first half of Paladin looks like. I'm not really showing off the second half of any of these classes because it's really far into the game, and that would take an absolutely incredible amount of effort, and I'm already spending a very significant amount of my free time this weekend recording more videos than usual in order to do all of these showcases. I'm not terribly interested in doing these as like guides because I never really planned on getting into guide-based content in the first place, but I did think that it was interesting that I haven't seen anyone kind of just cover what each of the classes do on YouTube or otherwise yet. So, you know, if it's something that I wanted to see, then maybe it's something that people wanted to see. And hopefully the people who are subscribed to my channel and are watching my series don't get too terribly bored by me having a little bit of a sidetrack and uploading a whole bunch of guides in a single day. To save for the integrity of my longer running series, because I will be playing probably through the entirety of this game. If you just want to watch someone else play, or if you just want to see a different experience of it, or if you want to see a god gamer like myself, jokes aside, do pretty well at this or play a harder difficulty, then I will have a long running series where I am permanently debating the difference between what I'm going to make another healing potion. By the way, that's another tip. Make more healing potions. They will save your life. But I'm doing a longer running series where I will be playing through the majority, or not even the majority, probably the entire game, because I honestly like this game a lot. We're going to turn that quest in, sell all of our junk that we got from the dungeon that we don't want at this guy, and buy some keys real quick. Suggest doing that. We're also going to sell that stuff because I don't think we need it. I have not actually found out yet whether those items are useful for anything other than buying and selling. Ooh, he sells a gold key. That's rare and fancy. And then what time is it? It is 8 o'clock. We have to rest until 5 a.m. So I'm going to rest until 6 a.m. in order to catch our boat. Well, that's 7 because I can't do math. And then once we get to the mainland here, here's this guy that we just saved from the Pirate Bay. Again, I'm not really... Oh, that was perfect. Look at that. Immediately got to the appropriate level just in time to go to the mainland and unlock the ability to get new skills. We'll go ahead and spend my stat points, though. I want more dexterity because as you get dexterity, it gets stamina regen back faster, which means that I can do my nice little charge attack faster. This guy trained me up to Adept now, so I am now an Adept Paladin, and now I can buy these. So we're going to buy 1 level of Lay Hands, 1 level of Judgment, and we'll glance real quick to see if there's anything that we wanted in these orange upgrades, which are the Adept upgrades. This allows me to charge through enemies, but I don't think I want to do that because I like stopping on the enemies. What about this one? Continuously discharge bolts of lightning. I think I'm going to grab that, but I'm out of points for now. And I am going to, as usual, rebind my stills real quick. So you can hold right click. So I held control, went up to stills, hold right click on something in order to unbind it. And then I'm going to bind Judgment to E. And then Lay Hands to Z. Does that affect me? It appears to. Yeah, and then Judgment hits right in front of me. So I'm actually going to be burning a lot of mana, it looks like. It's good to know. We're going to come right over to here, which is actually a dungeon that I missed on my previous 2 runs, and do this wolf cave. There's a guy who wants us to clear this out, but we're going to do it on our own initiative. Wow, that hits really hard. So that might be a strategy to do with Paladin, is since they have a hybrid between stamina and mana, you might want to focus. Ooh, gives me ice resist as well. You might want to focus all of your defensive stuff onto your stamina and then all of your offensive stuff onto mana. Or you could do the other way and focus very heavily onto stamina and eschew your defenses. Chuck a hammer down range right there. I like that little Hammerfall judgment ability. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that big ward guy, pretty bad, pretty hard to fight with this guy. So dying just costs you a little bit of time. It past its hours in game, which is important because the enemies will respawn based off of the in-game time. And there are some, although very rare, quests that also, you know what, I should probably pick up the quest to do this place because it'll get me some bonus experience and I might be able to show off some more skills before the end of our 30 minutes here. But passing time does mean that if enough time passes, enemies in various areas, like the less important ones, so like in that pirate area, it would be everything other than the pirate captains, for example. Enemies will actually respawn based on the amount of time that has passed. So dying over and over not only does lose you gold, but might also reset your progress in an area that you've been to. So the enemies haven't respawned because I've only passed 6 hours. Focusing on stunning the big guy and took him down. Whew. That was actually pretty hard. Actually, I'm going to see... I don't have 30 mana right now. I was going to see if the heal affected me. And 30 mana. It does affect me. Okay, so yeah, this is a very powerful class, but I will note that lacking a very good ranged ability, it might struggle on damage a little bit compared to the other classes. But you are, in fact, the tank. I mean, you can heal yourself. You could focus entirely on defensive abilities and then have your healing going and be kind of indestructible and invincible. You get thorns going with this pretty easily. Even with this one alone, you could get a lot of things going. 1 second real quick while I mute my Steam because I did not realize that I was not muted. I apologize for that. There we go. That was very unprofessional of me. I apologize. I normally do that every time, but like I said, I've been using up a lot of my personal time to get some extra recordings in this weekend so I could get all of these gameplay demonstrations out. I wanted to get them all kind of out on one day so that I can continue my longer running series of games that I'm playing, since this is kind of atypical content for what I want to do on my channel. But at the same time, I liked the idea of it. And if you're enjoying the content, enjoying the gameplay, or just enjoying the chill atmosphere and the vibe here, you know, feel free to like, subscribe, comment. If you have any questions about the game, if you leave a comment, I respond to every single comment that anyone ever posts on my channel, so feel free. But yeah, this is a very, very cool action RPG. It's definitely good enough that, like, I've played about 10 hours, and I have already made, like, this will be my 10th video on it, just because of some of the cooler things that it does. It is very resource intensive. It is very difficult. Even on easy mode, they still make you have to care about your resources, like this clearing this dungeon. I only have so many potions, and if I leave and go get my potions back, there's a chance that things might respawn because of time spent. Need that big guy stunned. I also need these little guys dead, please. Need more mana is what I really need. Oh, okay. Man. Killing those wargs with the Paladin is actually really stressful. Whenever I was killing them with, like, rangers or rogues, it was kind of just, like, a kiting affair. And you just use range attacks, but I don't really have a ton of range attacks, so kind of just had to figure it out in melee. Is that this place? Oh, looks like there's a little bit more. I think the quest will let me know once I clear the place, actually. Have you ever played a game called Gothic? This game shares a trait with that game. At least I found. I don't know if this is universal, but I found it a couple times where this game shares a trait with that one, which is that if you complete a quest and then go talk to the quest giver, having not known that you had actually completed a quest, a lot of times you can just be like, yeah, that thing you told me to do, it's done. It's not like an MMO where the content of the quest only spawns once you actually know to go do it. Quest updated, temporary solution. That is the quest we were looking at. So we're going to go ahead and turn that in, and hopefully that is enough experience to level us up again, and we can take a look at a few more things and get into some trouble somewhere else real quick before clearing out, before heading out from this Paladin little showcase here. You'll notice that there's a little bit of fog of war here that actually recovers. It's a cool little mechanic that happens around graveyards. I don't really know what's going on with that mechanic yet because I haven't gotten far enough in the game, but I definitely thought it was a very interesting thing. I'm going to even out my stats here. Even in this game, Paladins are very multiple attribute dependent. Very mad. Wow, that sounds cool. The area erupts into zealous flames that continue to burn for a few seconds, dealing fire damage, or enemies hit by judgment are shackled and chained, which debuff for a short period. Shackled enemies have reduced movement speed. So these two actually kind of synergize with each other, where I'm gonna buy both of them. I know that I wanted to buy other things, but this is really cool. Where you put things down in there and then they get stuck in the burning. That's really interesting. So we are going to head off north here, and we are going to end by going into the area that, ironically, I had done with my ranger and my rogue demonstration. But instead of grabbing the quest or anything, because we won't have time to finish the quest, we're just going to head in there and kind of just like we'll turn in this quest because that's just some free experience. We'll just head into there and just beat up some enemies. This would be, after coming off the island, this would be the next natural progression of where you would want to go out. Wow, that does a lot of damage. Cost me a lot of mana, though, too. You can light all these torches. It is a bit of a hobby of mine to go around these dungeons lighting torches. I like that the balance of this character is that you have a lot of different things to use with your mana, and you kind of have to make some hard choices of how you're going to use your mana. I could legitimately see doing this. I've actually said this on every character now. I mean, other than Wizard, who is always a full mage, but I could see doing both a physical build and a mage build with this character, because some of your spells are really strong. And sure, you could, use them every once in a while, or you could do a full mage build and just use them all the time. A Sphere of Mastery, what is that? I've never seen one of those before. It's a usable item. 2 skill points? Holy crap. So randomized loot has made it so I've never actually seen one of those before, the Sphere of Mastery. So that is completely new to me. What do I want? I think I'm going to grab extra armor, because that makes my dash stronger. And then I'm going to grab extra strength as well, because that means that I don't have to spend as many points on strength as I level up, and I can focus on intelligence for a little bit. while not feeling like I'm falling behind on intelligence. So whenever I get extra intelligence, strength gives me HP and damage with strength weapons. Intelligence gives me mana. Also HP regeneration. Intelligence gives me mana regeneration, and damage with mana weapons. And dexterity gives you stamina regeneration, and damage with stamina weapons. Generally, ranger and rogue get damage off of stamina. Wizard, ooh, there's a secret wall here. Has this secret wall always been here and I just missed it? Interesting. Doesn't seem to do anything right now, though. I would need to, like... This is, like, floating in the water, so I would need to, like, do something with the water here. These areas have such interesting and evocative puzzles in them that make you just wonder, how do I... Like, they'll show you something in distance, and you'll just have no idea how to get to it, and then later on, you'll just be like, oh, well, this does this, and then this does this, and this does this, and then it's like, oh, it's obvious of how to get to it. And it's a really cool thing that they did, and honestly, like, the dungeons in this game are really, really where this game shines. I'm just gonna leave that there. Burn all of you guys to smithereens, righteous flames, whatever. That's actually a good point. This character technically doesn't have limited resources as much as the other characters do. Because if I run out of healing potions, I could just heal myself. For a lot of HP, too, jeez. Yeah, I would still agree with my earlier assessment that this is probably one of the safer characters to play. You're not going to have as much difficulty. I would say that the wizard might be one of the hardest characters to play out of the ones that I've tried so far. I do really need some more mana regen. I think there's actually no there's technically nothing preventing me from wearing robes instead of plate mail, even though my character looks, a certain way here. And then the robes would give me mana regen, and I would lose a lot of armor, sure, and my dash wouldn't be as good, but I could play this as basically a mage at that point, because I do have a lot of very interesting spells. And I would still be pretty tanky because I'd be able to heal myself. And be able to stun things. Which, stunning things, I've only seen a little bit of stun in the game, and most of it now has been on this character. Again, reinforcing that role as your party's frontline damage soaker. I'm gonna leave that over there for those friends. Low on mana, so I'm going to use a healing potion. Gotta be careful because the poison can burn through your HP very fast here. Remember what I said about not being able to charge in to encounters and how Paladin can kind of do it? I am reassessing that opinion and saying that even Paladin is going to struggle just charging into encounters. Although that was really satisfying. I want enough mana to be able to do that again, but it takes so much time for my mana to come back. It's so tempting to use it on other things, like healing. Oh, thank goodness. A level up. I'm going to spend all of those points on intelligence, so that my mana regen goes way higher. Then I think I will... I've not really been blocking much. I don't actually want to upgrade this because it would make the mana cost go up. Let's see. I could upgrade it here, though, which makes it do more damage without making the mana cost go up. Nice. Very effective spells. Very expensive spells, but very effective. Oh, look at that. Look at how much collateral damage that one had. Actually, I have some mana shards, I think. I'll go ahead and pop one of those to get rid of this elite right here. There's actually 2 of them in the room here. You can tell because they're way bigger than the rest of them. I really want this guy dead. It's good to know that, by the way, if you saw that I just missed there actually is no miss chance in this game at base. The Pirate Captain gives you this funny thing that gives you 10% crit chance and 20% crit damage, but it also gives you a 1% chance to miss. That's why I missed. It almost never comes up, but the crit chance does come up, because you don't have crit chance without that item, unless, on most characters, I'd say. So it's kind of a fun little item. I almost have mana regen now. And this is the end of this quest, and also the end of my 30 minutes. So instead of going up there to finish the quest, I'm just going to end here. So this has been Paladin, and this has been Hammerwatch Heroes. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed these little gameplay snippets. I'm releasing all of them on the same day just to kind of get them out of the way and let people see what's going on, and hopefully give people some information, someone out there to show, hey, this is what this class is like. It's not guides, it's not super great, but like, it at least is something that people can attach to and be like, okay, this is how this class plays. And I wanted to give each one of them just like a 30-minute gameplay. But if you guys have enjoyed, always feel free to leave a like, subscribe, comment. It just helps the channel grow. And I've been Areima. Hope you guys have had a good one and have a nice night. Goodbye.